Welcome back to the Portland Standard Open, and I'm here with Travis Wu.
Hey guys.
Travis is playing Green Summer, an archetype he's become pretty well known for, I would say, over the past few months.
This is the deck I've been working on like all summer, and I call it Green Summer because like never before have you been able to play 16 Llanowar Elves. Probably never again. This is the one summer to do it. I think that like if I can, this is just out of respect to the number, if I could play 16 counter spells, I would do that too.
Sure.
16 lightning bolts, it's just like a crazy marquee one drop. That's awesome. I can play 16 of them. Built a whole deck around it. The way it's kind of moved is more away from a behemoth deck, which is in the board right now, and towards a township deck. Like everything in the deck adds mana except for these two cards. There's 58 mana sources, yeah. You just have guys and you township them, and if they bonfire you, you have more guys, or you already have a Titan out. Newest addition that is something that we should have had from the beginning is Sword. This card is crazy.
Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yeah, Sword of Feast and Famine. I mean, you play it on turn 2 to hedge against sweepers, but really, like, you hit them with the Primeval Titan with the sword, and it's insane. All your stuff untaps, or you have a draw that's all mana guys and a sword and a township, and you just grow your team crazy fast.
Yeah, it makes Township incredibly efficient, just boosting your creatures up to like lethal in easily 2 turn cycles.
I mean, I think Township is insane. It's just like gives you something to do if you're flooded, or with this, so I'm playing like all creatures. Yeah. So it's just it's a really flexible card. I want to build around it.
You shifted Behemoth to the board. What made you decide to do that?
First of all, I want to say that shifting it to the board is a mistake. I have a friend playing it as well, and we keep wanting it game 1, but some matchups you don't. The reasoning for why it's moved to the board is I felt that it was optimistic. It was kind of a training wheels card. I thought like, hey, I don't really need this. It just makes the games easier. But I do want to make the games easier. But you don't need it most of the time. There are occasional situations where it comes up where like the opponent plays 2 Wormcoil Engines or something, and like this actually has enough reach to get there.
Sure, definitely true.
But I thought the opportunity cost was not necessarily worth it, just having one card in my deck, because like everything is kind of essential. If I put this back in, I don't even want to cut a sword. It's gonna have to be probably the Silverheart is gonna get moved to the board.
Talking about your little Green Sun Zenith targets there, what made you decide on those 2 guys? Thragtusk is pretty big game in Standard right now, and you've decided to go with 1 in the main. You have a couple more on the sideboard, I see, but the deck is clearly a little more focused on the swords, the Titans, and he's sort of a
these are kind of offbeat. I agree. First reason is it's pretty easy to get 6 mana on turn 3, and we only have 4 Titans, so we'd like to have some awesome 5s to get.
That makes sense.
Thragtusk, there's a lot of games where we play as a life gain deck. That's the cool thing. This deck is really, really flexible. A lot of games I gain 12 life, 11 to 12, 11 if I draw one of the Glimmer Posts, and some games you want to gain 17 life. It's like actually really essential against Delver and zombies because they have a ton of reach.
Sure.
You can gain all 17 and lose sometimes, but it's often enough to push it away. So that's why I have the Thragtusk. Silverheart is just a really big beater. A lot of decks just fold to this card. He's awesome. You pair him with the Titan. He's Bonfire Insurance. I have more on the board, but like, say you're on the play against red-green, you go Llanowar Elf into Palladium Mirror. They play 2 elves and they're going to bonfire you for 2 on the 3rd turn. Well, you play a Silverheart and pair it, and their bonfire is just irrelevant now.
I think it's a card a lot of people will just find themselves accidentally dying to when they didn't expect to have to answer.
I mean, obviously the card's insane.
Yeah.
I think 1 is not very many. It could be more.
We'll be seeing more of Silverheart once Return to Ravnica.
Yeah, for sure. There's going to be more Silverheart when Return to Ravnica comes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your sideboard.
Okay.
You've got Sword of Warren pieces. I assume you sub those in for the Feast and Famines in some matchups, or are there matchups where you want both?
There's matchups where I want both. Decks with a ton of sweepers, like I don't want to play a Palladium Mirror and have both my guys get killed. Like if I have 6 swords, I'm actually pretty good against sweepers because what are they gonna like Slag Storm my 1 Llanowar Elf so that my sword doesn't kill them? Yeah, and also it's just like. There's some like all white decks or all red decks that it's sweet against.
Sure. You've also got a lot of Wolfear Silverhearts. Completing the playset to turn you into, I guess, more of a green beatdown deck.
Yeah, there's a few matches where you're more of a Silverheart deck than a Titan deck. Like against Wolfrun Ramp, they're really soft to this card. Yeah. Like it's huge. Their Titan doesn't interact with it very well. It's really important against Infect because the life gain from Titan is slow. Or it doesn't do anything and Titan's slow. So you like against Infect, you're trying to play a Melora and pair it with Silverheart, and you have Zenith to do that. Yeah, and like those are the main matchups that you want this for. But there's like certain matchups where it's just good. You just want an insanely big guy.
You've also got a pair of Ghost Quarters to fetch up with your own Primeval Titans.
Yeah, I didn't have these until recently, and they're insane. They're just awesome. Like I just should have an answer to Ink Moth somewhere in my 75. So I board these in against Infect, and I board them in against basically anything with Ink Moth. Also, sometimes 23 lands is not that many. That's how many I have in the main, because they like gut shot everything, and I just would like to have an extra land. Yeah. So I board up to 24 sometimes.
And you're basically mono green, but you actually only have like 15 sources of green on turn 1.
Yeah, I only have 15. Yeah. I'd prefer to have more. Sometimes you have to mulligan because of it. I've had 16 before, but like, it's not an issue that often. I think the mono green Infect deck plays like 14 or sometimes plays fewer and it gets away with it.
Okay, so yeah, fair's fair, right?
Yeah, I have more than mono green Infect, so yeah.
One card that I noticed you didn't run in the deck, it's really common in Green Sun Zenith decks, although it's started to become much less popular, is Acidic Slime. What's the deal with Acidic Slime in Standard right now? Is he just not good enough? Too slow?
It's just like, for me, I really want to be proactive with everything I do. It's a really responsive card, and it's like, I can't really pay 6 mana for a 2/2 and win. Even if I'm taking like one thing off, like I'm really a haymaker deck. I'm just throwing one card at them and hoping it kills them a lot of the time. I think Acidic Slime would be reasonable, but like, I mean, what do you cut for it? You need to cut something awesome for a card you don't always want.
It's not the best bang for your buck, basically.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it would be reasonable to have one in the board for like maybe Birthing Pod decks. I just don't think you need it though.
I can agree with that. That seems pretty reasonable. Yeah. Well, you're undefeated in the tournament right now.
Yeah, I'm 5-0 now. This is my last chance to play this deck. Summer's ending, so I'm hopefully I'll see you guys in top 8.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Travis.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Thanks for having me on.